welcome back. Y'all know I have to do my little clap when we get started. Okay, it's kind of like the initiation point of the video. Anyways, welcome back to Dear Dr. Courtney. This is part 2 of Is My Therapist a Good Fit for Me? Okay, if you are just kind of jumping in with us, please go back and watch part 1 first, and that will give you some context about how in the world do you even begin to find your therapist or find a therapist, and then come back to this video for the next parts of your steps of your process, okay, of identifying if this therapist is the right fit for me. So once you have your list of 5 or 6 therapists that you have found through searching through directories, okay, I want you to reach out to these therapists via email or via their telephone line. Now, for me as a solo practitioner, the most efficient way to get in contact with me is via email, because a lot of parts of my day I'm in meetings and I'm in sessions. Okay, so if you want to get in contact with me, you would need to email me. Okay, however, some other therapy practices, the best way to get in contact with them is to give them a call. Okay, I want you to call, I want you to email and say, hello, my name is John Blank. I discovered that you are a licensed mental health provider in the state that I live in, blank. Are you currently accepting new clients? If so, I am interested in scheduling a consultation with you. I'm going to pause here. You may say, what is a consultation? A consultation is typically a 15-minute free meeting with the provider. During that time, you can share with them a little bit about the presenting problem that you have, what you're hoping to get out of therapy, and any questions that you may have that will help you to feel comfortable with starting therapy. Again, it's a 15-minute conversation. You're not going to be able to tell them the whole shebang of your life story. Okay? But the point is for you to have a initial first interaction and kind of feel their energy, feel their vibe. Do you feel comfortable talking to them? Is their tone of voice, does it feel like they're welcoming, warm, inviting, etc.? You know what it feels like when it's like, okay, yeah, this person is easy to talk to, versus like, yeah, I don't think so. Okay, so that's the thing that I want you to do, and I want you to go down I want you to go down each therapist that you have written down, and I want you to look at your list after you called them. The people who have said, yes, I accept your insurance, or I would love to help you, but I'm not currently accepting new clients. You can either cross them off your list, or you can make a little note and say waitlisted. Okay. Now, if you want to start like yesterday or immediately, you're just going to cross off those providers who said they're not accepting new clients right now because it's not a good fit for you. Okay. The next thing that I want you to do is when you get a response back, then that's when you start to, based off of your research, based off of initial impressions, and again, this includes scheduling a consultation appointment, then you can decide which therapist you want to actually schedule your first appointment, which is called an intake appointment. I would encourage you to schedule at least 3 consultation appointments to just get a feel off of first initial interactions with each therapist, so that you can again make a more well-informed decision. I am a PhD. I love research. I love data. And so I feel like the more data you have, the more well-informed decision that you can make. Okay. So after those consultations, then you reach back out to that therapist, or you can even decide during that consultation, like, yeah, I know you're the one for me. I'm ready to schedule my intake appointment. and the therapist will talk to you about what the process looks like of getting on their books and scheduling your first therapy appointment, okay? The first therapy appointment is an intake session. So they're taking in your lore, right? Your background. They're trying to understand where you've been before you got to the point of sitting in front of them, and also the context around the presenting problem and the nature of the presenting problem. Now, yes, your therapist is taking in information about you, but you're also taking mental notes about them. Do you feel comfortable talking to this person, or do you feel like you need to withhold certain parts of your story? Do you feel like this person is easy to talk to? Do you feel like this person is genuinely interested and invested in helping you? Do you sense that this person is well versed in the presenting problem? Do you sense that this person's approach to therapy is a good fit for you? Okay. Now, in the intake session, you're not going to get a whole lot of intervention, if any. You're not going to get a whole lot of instructions of what to do now, or coping skills, or, bibliotherapy, books and resources, whatever. However, if that is your style, in the sense of the type of therapy that you would like to have, even if you've never been in therapy before, you know your learning style, okay? And so if you can't sense that therapist approaches therapy and uses those types of things to help you reach your goals, there's nothing wrong with asking a therapist, what is your approach to helping me reach my goal? What is your approach in therapy? Okay? If you want a therapist that is well versed and can, from a research and a literature based perspective, explain to you the psychological processes that you're experiencing, you don't want a nod and type of therapist. That is not your type of therapist. Now, there's no shade to those types of therapists. However, it is okay for you to say, I need more than that. I am so grateful to have a safe space to be heard. I am so grateful to have someone who even wants to listen. But there is more to therapy in the therapeutic process than just having someone to listen to you. For example, right? My approach to therapy is to give you a safe, non-judgmental space to be heard, to feel seen, for someone to be invested and care about your feelings, your experiences, and your overall well-being. Okay? However, I go a second step beyond that because I am a lover of psychoeducation and the hows and the whys and the processes that influence or are driving your outcomes, right? I like to talk a lot, and I've always loved neuroscience as well. I like to talk a lot about the biological explanations, the contextual explanations that influence the development of your problem, okay? I am very big on validating your experience. So I will let you know, like, that's normal. There's nothing wrong with you. Or actually, I'm sorry, baby. That's a you problem. And that's okay. We're going to work on that. Okay. The next step after that is I do assign homework sometimes. So I'm a firm believer that therapy, that 1 hour therapy can be incredibly healing, right? However, the work must continue after the session is over. Okay. So I do often give homework when it comes to behavioral changes or making commitments to yourself, reading a book, reading an article, looking at a video, etc., etc. I do consider, the context of your lifestyle, right? So if you're super busy and you're a mom and you're a parent, you're a college student, you're working, you're all the things, I'm not going to inundate you with homework. However, I do want to give you something to continue working on so that the therapeutic process can keep marching forward in between sessions. Okay. So asking questions about what is your style of therapy? What's your theoretical orientation? Are you certified in any particular approaches to therapy or niches? You are more than welcome, and you should. I encourage you to ask those clarifying questions. Now, it's okay if you don't think of asking all those questions in the first session, but know that you always have the right to ask those clarifying questions in follow-up sessions or even outside of sessions as well, as you are determining, is your therapist the best fit for you to help you to reach your goal. I will tell you, if you feel like you need to withhold in the therapy session, if you're not telling the full story, your therapist is not, unfortunately, a mind reader. We will do some early, broad, general assessments regarding mental health, but what you don't disclose, we cannot help you with. Okay? So please don't force yourself to sit on somebody's couch, virtually or in person, if you don't feel comfortable with opening your heart. Okay? Your therapist is the person that you're going to bare your soul to. Okay. And if you feel judged in doing that, you feel uncomfortable doing that, you feel resistance at all about doing that, pay attention to it. Now, I wouldn't say immediately fire your therapist or look for somebody else, but pay attention to that, because sometimes you may discover, not after session 1, but maybe after session 2, maybe after session 3, that like, yeah, this therapist is not for me because there's some deep, heavy stuff that I really need to talk about and to flush out in therapy, and I don't think I can do it here in this space. Okay? All right. So let me, excuse me just a moment. I'm going to check my time here. All right. So the other thing when you're thinking about, is my therapist a good fit for me, is asking yourself the question, does my therapist availability work for me, right? So if you need a therapist that works on the weekend, be mindful that every therapist does not offer Saturday or Sunday availability. However, some therapists do offer Saturday and Sunday availability. And there's one more a therapy database that I want to share with you, which is Headspace. I am partnered with Headspace. I do provide therapy services on Headspace, so that's another directory. I need to add that information onto the first conversation that we had about where in the world do I find my therapist. Okay, so I think that's a good place for us to pause for today. The biggest thing about therapy is know that the relationship, the rapport, the sense of comfort that you have with your therapist, it does matter in the therapeutic process. And also be encouraged that you can always ask questions. When I start with a new client, I ask them, I don't know how you found me. A lot of times I don't know, because there's a lot of information on the internet about me. I'm listed in several directories. I have social media for the private practice, so I don't know. But what I do give my new clients a chance to ask me is, do you have any questions about my background, my education, my training, my clinical experience? I am more than happy to answer those questions if it's going to help to give you more confidence about deciding, am I a good therapist to work with? Am I a good fit for you? Do not feel bad if you need to shop around a little bit, okay? Remember, all therapists are not created equal. They're not trained in the same way. Everybody's licensure does not require the same courses, therapeutic approach, research background, all these kind of things, right? Also, I do recognize that having a therapist, a lot of times that resonates with your spirit, your culture, is important, right? So if you want a therapist that looks like you, have no shame about that, okay? Because this experience it hugely rests on if you feel comfortable enough to talk about the things that matter the most. Okay. So I hope that this was helpful. I look forward to seeing you all in my next video for Dear Dr. Courtney. I hope that your week is going well so far, and I'll see you guys again soon. Gosh, I'm sorry I can't talk tonight.